Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Alain. It's Wednesday. I usually like Warrior Wisdom Wednesday. Going to give you a little bit of different type of warrior wisdom today. Going to talk a little bit about my first physical therapy appointment yesterday, since the knee surgery was on the 22nd of May. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Before I do, I want to thank everybody that joins and comments, everybody watches replays later, everybody that shares, everybody that listens to the audio podcast, whether it's website, Spotify, Apple, wherever. Thank you to all of you. And thank you to everybody that is subscribing to the newsletter. You can get that free at enjoylifesafely.com. And a very special thank you to people that are purchasing the courses available at enjoylifesafely.com. You know, people say, how can we help you, Alain? You can help me by helping yourself by grabbing a course or two. And I'm working on more that are going to be up there too. So keep going to enjoylifesafely.com. Get on the newsletter. You'll see different courses just to help you. And you getting those helps me too. It's a win-win for everybody. So thank you, everyone. Now let's talk a little bit about physical therapy. Now, an interesting thing, a couple nights ago, a buddy of mine, Nick, called and we were chatting about different things, including the rehab of the knee and some business stuff that we're both working on. And he was telling me, yeah, you should do the rehab, that, you know, the exercises they gave you. And I said, yeah, I'm doing those pretty religiously and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, he goes, now remember, Alain, he goes, they give those to people that are slugs and don't do anything and will barely get off the couch. So you're going to be so far ahead of anything. You know, you're going to breeze through this. You got it. Now, this is somebody who has been there, done that. He's lifelong martial artist, French Foreign Legion for a number of years, and had his injuries and surgeries and rehab and stuff too. So I'm finding a lot of my friends that are lifelong martial artists or had been in the military, jumping out of airplanes and humping heavy rucksacks up and down mountains and all this kind of stuff. All of us are sort of having surgeries and things replaced and dealing with it nowadays. Comes with the territory. So Nick's been there, done that. And that was sort of the advice he said to me, keep doing those exercises like you're doing. He goes, you're going to blow through it, and because most people don't. So then I went to the physical therapy appointment yesterday, the first one that was scheduled since the surgery, but they gave me a list of exercises. I actually went to a class they had me go to before the surgery where they went through a whole bunch of what was going to go on, blah, blah, blah. And during that class, they gave me a handout with 3 sets of exercises. Some you do laying down, some you do sitting in a chair, some you do standing. And they recommend doing 2 to 3 sets of at least 10 for all of those throughout the day. And that's what I've been doing. I've done 3 sets of 10 plus every day since starting the day after surgery. And I forced myself to do some that they were pretty painful. Ask my wife. She probably got sick of me going, oh, that sucks. As I'm doing some of these exercises. And the exercises aren't super difficult. Some of them are just trying to bend the knee. Others are, doing leg raises and things. One of the standing up ones, you raise it out to the side, raise it to the back, and then raise it to the front, which I do as a martial artist forever, except, I'm raising the front ones up over my head and different things. Now I'm only getting a chest to sometimes chin height. So I'm doing those. And then so I go in there yesterday and she asked what I've been doing. And I said, well, yeah, I'm doing those exercises. And I just listed them off. And she said, I think you're the first person that's ever listed every exercise off in order correctly and knows that without looking at anything. I said, well, I've been doing them every day. She said, how many times? I said, 3 times each set. I space them out. I do a set of exercises this hour. In the next hour, I do my walking. In the next hour, I do a set of exercises. In the next hour, I do some walking. And between those, I'm doing the elevation and stuff. And she's like, wow, that's awesome. And then she was testing me on some things. And it's like, you're doing wonderful. And when I did the front raise, she said, that's probably the highest I've ever had anybody do after a knee surgery like yours. But I guess since you're a martial artist and stuff, it makes sense. She goes, I want you to keep doing what you're doing because you're doing wonderful. And here's a couple things you can add in that will make it a little bit more difficult if you feel you can do it. And she said, do you think you could do, these quarter squats where you hold on to a counter or a sink, something, and then you start squatting, but you got some help? And I said, and she had a counter there. I said, oh, I should be able to do that. And I did one. She goes, yeah, wonderful. She goes, yeah, you can start incorporating those. The toe raises, because I told her, yeah, sometimes I do 20 or 30 because 10 is nothing. She goes, do you think you could do it one leg at a time? I said, well, probably. And I did a few with the one leg. And she goes, okay, you can modify those and work those in. So we added some additional things. Plus, she wants me to keep doing the stuff. Now, why do I share this? One is that there are a lot of people going through stuff out there, different kind of surgeries, different injuries, different physical therapy. The key is to do it. Nick was right when he said a lot of people, they're going to get that list of exercises and they're going to sit on the couch watching TV and they're not going to do them. And if they do that, they're not going to gain and have the recovery that they could have. So listen to your doctors, listen to your physical therapist, and do the exercises. That comes a little bit more natural to those of us that were in the military and forced to exercise. It didn't matter if you wanted to exercise or not. When it was PT time, you did. That was just the way it was. There wasn't a, oh, should I exercise or not today? It's like PT, fall out, you're doing it. Martial artists have a lot of the similar attitudes, especially if you stick through it and earn your black belt and go up the ranks and you don't quit at yellow belt or so. I remember Fort Bragg once, went down to Wolf's Karate Studio, did some training there while I was at Fort Bragg. Another guy went there. We went there together. On that very first night, Master Wolf liked to have people mix it up a little bit, and it was pretty tough school. Went home with a black eye. My buddy went home with a big fat lip. He didn't go back. I kept going back. So those martial artists that stick with it, they develop that mental fortitude to do the PT exercises. Now, you can learn that mental fortitude and discipline in other places. You don't have to be military or martial arts. That's where I draw my strength from. And that's where I get my, gonna do it attitude from. But you can draw that from other places, but it's all going to be from inside. So if you're going through something, do your exercises, listen to what your doctors say, listen to what your physical therapists tell you, and push yourself a little bit. Don't overdo it. You don't want to overdo it and hurt yourself, injure yourself so you can't continue. That's one of the things about martial arts where we learn good pain versus injury. You will never be a martial artist and not feel pain. That comes with the job. It comes with the territory. But we want to try to prevent injuries that send us to the hospital and prevent our training. There's a big difference. Any good exercise program will push you to the little bit of pain that is healthy and helps you progress and grow, but not injure you and have you set back. And that's what you want with physical therapy too. You're going to have some pain as you push yourself. Just make sure you know your limits and don't go too far and injure yourself and make your rehabilitation and your recovery longer than it needed to be. That's what I wanted to share today, just because I know that I'm not the only one going through this. Hell, I saw a guy yesterday, he posted a knee scar. It's like, that looks like my knee. And he's like 2 or 3 weeks from his knee surgery and had an appointment with the PT. And he's said he's going to be past what they want before they want it, which is awesome. I hopefully will be as well. As she said yesterday, I was farther along than she expected. And she said, wow, you make my job easy because you're doing what they ask you to do. And that's all I'm doing. Nothing superhuman or miraculous, just doing what they said to do. And that's what I want you to do too. So that's what living with the Warrior's Edge is all about. We do what we have to do. We do what we need to do to make advancements, to progress, and to help ourselves so we can then help others, because that's what it's about. Before I leave, I do want to say good morning to some people. I want to say good morning to Richard, who is here and said good morning. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you being here. Good morning, Thad. I appreciate you being here and saying good morning. Dixon's here. Never give up. He read that off my shirt. You cheated, Dixon. I have my never give up shirt this morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you all for watching replays and listening to the podcast. Go to enjoylifesafely.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out the courses. Make it a wisdom-filled Wednesday, and I'll be back to see you tomorrow.